All right, so June will be going first in this game too, and that's a reaching position, I think.
It's the other purple one.
And the Mockingbird again, so conspiracy
There's
theory
that
time.
canvas back too.
And the canvas back. These birds keep coming up that we saw in the last game.
This is the conspiracy of Terres that I would buy into. I'm
going to say you say the conspiracy like he's only got one. And not
this is the only one that I have actually seen like evidence for, and maybe it's just because there's like so many birds in the deck, or not enough birds in the deck to make it.
I don't know.
Game, but the one where it's like we're playing back-to-back games, the same birds come up. Like Luke Grosbeak was in somebody's starting hand last time. Cassins came up and got tucked. Canvasback was down. Mockingbird was down.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what else they keep here. Quail's an interesting one. I think if they had another forest bird, they'd probably lean towards that, but they don't. The quail, it's not bad. It's going to get you eggs as well, but I don't know. Mockingbird, whether they're going to try and do the same thing as before and just get that tuck and draw and copy that. Obviously, it worked quite nicely for them last time.
Yeah, worked great last time. I don't know.
Yeah. And the canvas pack as well, obviously, as we said, we saw last game. The star nest probably isn't going to come in as handy this time, but they'll need something in that wetlands. And it's going to function like the sniper did last game. Just, get that additional card and then use something like the swallow in your grasslands to cycle through it. So, yeah, I don't mind this. You can take the worm and the seed, and then there's another seed in the tray. So you get that quail down, but I don't know. You've got 3 birds that all cost 2 food, and you're only getting 1 food a turn. It feels a little bit slow, so be interested to see. Maybe they go with the swallow in the forest, or even the mockingbird. So
what? No. Okay, no. Crazy talk. Come on, man. There's
never say never.
Groot suggested the quail and the mockingbird in the forest. Gets you 2 food a turn.
It could work. I don't know. It's
definitely
stranger things have been seen on these streams. So but yeah, as you said, we have everyone's third favourite hummingbird in the starting hand, and not a whole lot else.
He's not everybody's third favourite, okay?
Everybody but Elsie's third favourite.
Everyone but Elsie. Me and the black-chinned hummingbird are brothers.
Yeah.
I love those two.
And I think I saw them pick the platform builder for their bonus card, which is very interesting considering they have no platform nests in their hand and none in the tray.
They had 2. I think they had 2.
I didn't see what the other one was. Ones. Were they both nests? Okay.
I think. I don't know. I saw it for like half a second. Maybe they'll take back.
Yeah, it's not a great starting position. I mean, the stilt's okay. The stilt's not bad for a starting bird, particularly with the grubs in the tray. They can easily pick one of those up and get it down. And you get a couple of cards, but nothing else really great in that starting hand. So I think, they'll look at the tray and think, okay, that swallow is going to be taken straight away by my opponent. So I've just got to gamble and see what comes up and see what they can get. I think the other bonus card was Backyard Birder. So I absolutely
Platform Builder all the way.
Yeah. If you'd started with a couple of low point birds, you might be able to make the Backyard Birder work. But it's one of those bonus cards where even if you start with it, it's not worth aiming towards. Platform Builder, you might get lucky and get a few star nests. But again, if you can't make it work, it's not worth compromising the rest of your game just to try and get the 4 points on that.
I think the interesting thing here with June is that there's only 1 grain in the feeder, and they need that for the California quail, but they can't afford to skip the swallow. So if Terror takes
I can see them taking it, because EnTaroAdun, they're going to need the grub, and in this position, you take the multi one. You don't take the grub on its own. You take the one that could be a seed, just on the off chance that your opponent needs it. And obviously in this position they do, but
I think the Cooper's
that is bold. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. They've already got the rodent, and they needed something, so
and the platform nest.
And it's a platform nest, all very good points. So that has saved June a little bit. I think they can get the seed now and get that quail down 1 turn sooner, and if you can save a turn in this early game, that's going to be worth so many more points later in the game where they can use that for scoring points. So that's quite unfortunate. Yeah. Well, it is all about tempo. You don't want to spend too many turns at the start gaining a single food and nothing else. I just think it's really slow, particularly when you have got all of these other really strong birds in your hand. You want to get those down as soon as possible and start using them to score points. And the longer it takes you to get them down, the less chances you have to use them and the less points you're going to get. So, yeah, absolutely critical for June that they can get this quail down now.
I love the California quail, just like as a bird. I don't like it that much in Wingspan just because it costs 3 food.
Oh, you're talking about real life.
I'm talking about real life birds because why not? I can do anything I want.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. I think it gets a hard time in Wingspan because there are better options for getting eggs in the forest, but there's really not many. I think there's only like 3 birds that give you eggs in the forest, so it's kind of in this elite niche group of birds where it is a strong power, and it feels a bit frustrating to pay 3 food for 3 points, but certainly it's a strong bird even in this situation here where we've got the eggs in the forest with the end of round goal. So if that helps June win that first end of round goal and get those 4 points, then absolutely it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay, so June probably here going to take the cherry.
For the Mockingbird, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's good for the Mockingbird, but I almost feel like they need to prioritise getting that canvas back down. Because, unless they are going to go Mockingbird in the forest. Well, but they'll re-roll, so they'll get a re-roll on this food here. And if they can get the grain, then absolutely you get that canvas back down. But yeah, I'll be interested to see, because they could go Mockingbird in the forest. Yeah, that's not a terrible idea, getting a couple of eggs as well as 2 food. I just think it is stronger in the grasslands, as we saw from them last game. If you can get it in the grasslands with your tuck and draw bird, it just gets you so many more points and unlocks more options for cycling through the deck. So I always try and get it in the grasslands to copy those strong powers wherever possible.
Yeah. I like the Kingfisher for EnTaro here because June doesn't have any wetland birds down right now and isn't in a position to get it down for a couple of turns. So
exactly, and it's a star nest, so that's going to help with their bonus. And if you're in EnTaroAdun's position, you think, okay, if I can get these 2 birds down, that second end of round goal, birds in the wetland, is kind of an insurance, that Kingfisher, because if your opponent's going to target that and try and get a couple of birds down to match that and share that end of round goal, that's just giving you free fish. So you're at least, okay, maybe I don't win the end of round goal, but I'm getting something out of it. So yeah, I think that's a really nice card to add into their wetlands, because really at this point you just need that second bird so that you're at least easily able to get access to 2 cards rather than just the one with the still.
Yeah. And I think the I don't know, I started that like I was going to make a game point, but I was
You sounded so confident.
I was literally just trying to start this to complain about the fact that the Kingfisher card art is eating another bird, but that's not relevant.
It's too thematic for your tastes.
Well, okay, no, so the Kingfisher's so small. It's not a predator.
I don't know. I know Geest really likes the Kingfisher as a bird in real life, so I'll let him take up this fight with you after the game. But
I really liked his card in Wingspan.
It's a strong bird. Yeah.
Wingspan was a 5-player, and I got the Kingfisher in my circle hand.
Absolutely.
And I played it, and best thing ever.
Yeah, the pink powers in a 4 or 5-player game are so strong. I mean, they can still work even in a 2-player like this, but certainly the more players you get, the stronger they are. Interesting from June here. So they have gone for the grub. They did think a little bit there whether they were going to go for the seed, but I have to think that they're going to go Mockingbird in the forest here, which I think is what Gruvenstein in the chat called very early on in this game. So. I think they're certainly looking at, okay, I can get 2 food and 2 eggs. It's going to help for that end of round goal as well. And just access to 2 food. It's the right food in the feeder as well. So they can get that seed for the canvas back. They can get at least one of the worms for the swallow. So they can just gain food a couple of times. They'll max out that end of round goal for sure. And they can get those 2 birds down. And yeah, hopefully, be able to add something to the Swallow in their grasses. But this is certainly a strong position to be in, I think, for June at the moment.
Yeah. My only issue with this is that it's short term. Like, it feels a little like, I don't know. I think it's the best option with the cards that June has and the ones that they can like rely on as in cards in hand. Like, trying to do it in the grasslands means that for a little bit, like, you can't get the Swallow down right now, so you're just like running the grasslands and skipping that Mockingbird power. So
yeah, it's a really good point, and I think in Wingspan you do often find that you have to make a decision between short-term and long-term gains. So certainly the Mockingbird longer term in the grasslands with the Swallow is going to be much stronger. But if you think about June's position, and it's that gaining a single food a turn. If it takes them 3 or 4 more turns to get these birds down, you're just really slow at the start. And actually, having the Mockingbird there, it's getting points already and it's getting more food. I think saving those turns is actually going to help June more longer term. Just in terms of getting things down quicker. So yeah, it's a bold move. I'll be honest here and say it's not the one that first came to mind for me. As soon as I see Mockingbird and a Tuck and Draw, I think get those in the grasslands. But it's certainly not a bad position for them to be in.
Maybe they're just trying to liven it up this stream. Did the same thing last game, can't do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wonder at this point. Do you go? I think I did mention it earlier on. Do you go Swallow in the forest as well? Because actually, there's not any, to be honest, after this first end of round goal that to do with eggs. So if there's any game where you can afford to skip the grasslands as much as possible, it's this kind of setup. And you draw cards with that canvas back. You can get 3 if you're discarding an egg, and then you just run that forest. Cycle through cards with the Swallow. You're getting a couple of food, and it would be nicer in a position to have something like the Wood Duck added. But I think that can still be a strong option for June at this point if they do look to build something up in that forest.
Very interesting watching other people do forest engines, because it's just not what occurs to me pretty much ever in games. Like, I never look at a thing and go, oh yes, I can make a really good forest engine out of this. I go, how do I use this to supplement other habitats? So
yeah, I think certainly in the base game on Wingspan, you are kind of, you're ushered towards doing a grassland engine because it is the strongest habitat. Generally, the strongest birds go there that score the most points. And certainly, in most games we see end of round goals that are reliant on eggs. So getting eggs down is very important. But yeah, I think it. The only time when my head immediately goes forest engine is when I get a Wood Duck. Any other time, I think like you, my head goes, okay, I get birds in the forest so that I can get food, and then play birds in my grasslands, and then I don't have to worry about the forest. But with a position like this, and adding a few more birds to that as well, if you're able to get 3 or 4 points a turn from your forest, cycle through some cards, while also getting food, if you can get those big point birds down as well, you're scoring 3 or 4 points on the turns when you're not playing birds, and then you might be scoring 6 or 7 points on those turns when you are playing birds. So it's a really strong position to be in, and it wouldn't massively surprise me if that's the route that June decides to go down.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the effectiveness of forest engines at all, because they can be very good when done right. It's just like, it's kind of, I think that's one of the tells that you're playing an experienced player is like seeing being able to see more options. Because I know I'm sort of in the middle of experience because I've only been playing for 3 months, I think, at this point. And you sort of get locked into okay, I got a barn swallow, that goes in the grasslands. I got a killdeer, that goes in the grasslands.
Yeah.
I got a tuck and lay, that goes in the wetlands. It's easy to get trapped into tradition, and I think part of experience is knowing when to go with the tried and true, and knowing when to go, okay, I'm gonna try something different this time.
Yeah, I think something like a forest engine, it can be very situational. If if you try and force it, it can often backfire.
Yeah.
That's why when I say,
Raven.
well, I'll stop talking now because the Raven's come up. But yeah, that's
again.
Yeah, exactly what we saw in the last game. So
EnTaro's got a Raven summoning circle over there.
It's it feels weird to say this because Raven is always good, but it is a bit unfortunate the timing of that's come up because. I think EnTaroAdun actually had quite a nice thing going on in their forest, getting access to the three food. But yeah, I think Grievancy makes a good point in the chat. Like we saw in the last game, if you have one of these co-op card-giving birds and your opponent has the Raven, you have to be careful. How many times you can activate that. But when they've got something like the Swallow, I think it does help because you can afford to activate that canvas back fewer times. If you gain cards twice. Activate it twice, that's going to give you 6 cards. That's enough to work with. You can cycle through those with the Swallow, whether it's in the grasslands or in the forest. And yeah, hopefully get some better birds to add to that.
So is there ever a situation where you wouldn't play the Raven if you drew it in round 2?
If I had a really nice woodland engine with the wood duck, I probably wouldn't. But yeah, I think I've said this before on stream. I think we do see sometimes players will pick up a Raven and panic and go, "Oh my god, it's a Raven! It's one of the best birds in the game. I have to play this." And it's not always the right play. I think in this case it probably still is. It's a platform builder, so it helps for that as well. But yeah, I think they'll need something to add to it. So I'd be looking at that bob white in the tray and thinking, let's go for that. But when you see your opponent take the cowbird, that might make you think twice because suddenly, I'm gonna stop talking again because another Raven's come up.
The Raven battle.
That I think that's probably a GG for June there with the tucking bird as well. It's unfortunate now seeing that mockingbird in the forest. If they had gone mockingbird with the tuck and draw in the grasslands, that plus a Raven is just ridiculously strong. So, but having said that, I think like the points we made before, that mockingbird, it helped them win that end of round goal, and it just helped them get that food a bit quicker. And they're in the fortunate position actually of drawing that Raven while already having the food to play it. So unlike we saw with EnTaroAdun, they had to go to the bird feeder.
My god, this deck, man.
Another tuck and draw, and was that the purple martin? That was the one we saw last game as well.
Yep.
Full conspiracy here. That evens it out a bit. Both players are going to have a Raven and a tuck and draw, so it's going to be a race to get those down and a race to see who can cycle through cards and pick up those big point birds and get them down soon. So this will be interesting.
I sort of like June's setup for the Raven better because like that once you run the eggs off the California quail, if you're not using the forest much, that's 10 egg spaces up there that you can just run with. And also they don't have to they've got a brown power in their wetlands and it benefits their opponent, but that's better than EnTaro, who's gonna have to who's stuck drawing 2 cards a turn. So
I
think June's in a better spot in terms of pivoting, but
I think in terms of points, EnTaroAdun is probably slightly ahead. Just looking at points on the board, they've got lots of tucks under that hawk already, so it's a strong position for them. Obviously, they did lose 4 points to June in that first end of round goal. But I feel like they're both going to get these grassland engines set up at about the same time. I like this move here from June. That bob white's going to be really nice. Just helping get extra eggs to feed that Raven. If you can not only deny the whooping crane, but use that to your advantage as well, that's going to be such an easy bird to get down with the Raven. So I think that was a strong move there from June, and they're both just going to be racing to get these grassland engines set up, and then like I said before, it's just going to be who can get the birds quicker. Who can get the strong birds down and build up this grasslands and get lots of points. So yeah, it's going to be a really tasty round 3 and 4. Yeah. They both got the food for it. They can both get those down on back-to-back turns. So going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out now.
Yeah. No, they are going to be even because they're both going to have to get food before they can play their tuck and draws.
Yeah, so I imagine it's going to be both players have played their ravens, both players are going to lay eggs and get the food for their tuck and draws, and then both players are going to play those. So it's like
synchronized swimming.
It is a little bit, yeah. It's kind of after you, I'll copy whatever you're doing.
Can we get some ballet music in here?
I'm not as technologically advanced as Tero, so unfortunately not this time. But
I've got my phone here watching people yell about whether or not they like Pringles in chat, because that's where we've gotten to.
I did see we had a poll, and I think it was an absolute slam dunk for yes, I like Pringles. So
Pringles are fantastic, and I don't know what everyone's problem is.
Yeah, I think Tay's just a bit of a snob when it comes to these kinds of snack foods. So yeah.
Why is this Pringles poll even happening? Because Pringles looks like bird. No, Tay.
Right, I'm just gonna pivot back to the game here. It's an interesting decision here for June because they're not going for the 2 food for the tuck and draw. I wonder if they're going to try and. I think they're going to try and get the cowbird down, which I don't mind. It's okay. Well, they're changing their mind here. It's odd in a sense that it's not a typical grassland engine bird because it doesn't actively do anything when you're activating it. But as soon as you see your opponent set with a raven, particularly with the forest that EnTaroAdun already had, as soon as you see that raven come down, you think they've got something to add to it. And as soon as that marten's going to come down as well, okay, they're going to be laying lots of eggs. So I don't think it was a bad move to get the tuck and draw. You're still getting points from that when you activate it, and they certainly got birds in their hand to cycle through. But would not surprise me in the slightest if they get the food for that cowbird on the next turn, because that's just going to get them 3 eggs, almost every turn for the rest of the game.
Now this is a fun one because you're going to have very similar setups on both sides, and so I guess it's really going to come down to how kind the deck is.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. There is going to be some luck of the draw, so it is going to depend on how fortunate the players do get in terms of what birds they can pick up. I think that's a sensible play there for EnTaroAdun, going for the eagle.
Yeah, because
when you see a big point bird like that, you take it. You don't want to gamble on what you can draw. But I think the flip side of that is that actually a situation like this, it's quite a good measure of who is the stronger player. You don't often get situations like this in a game where both players have identical setups. So it's a really good chance to actually see, okay, you've both got the same setup, you've both got the same chance of getting food and cards from the deck. Who can manage it better, who can, make the right decisions, be more efficient with their turns, who can be lucky drawing a warbler from the deck. But that's the thing. You got to take the gambles at the right time. I think EnTaroAdun did the right thing taking the eagle, and I think June did the right thing there taking the warbler, because there wasn't really anything that useful in the tray for them. So they do look like they'll be getting the cowbird down as soon as possible, really. And I think that is going to get points. But with a barn swallow in the tray, I think I'd be all over that barn swallow.
Yeah, you've got to take it. Take the barn swallow, take the hawk, and take the cowbird, and then that's your setup done.
Yeah,
just at the round maxed out.
Yeah, I almost wonder at this point, if you take the swallow and then take another couple of seeds, you could go swallow and bob white, and suddenly you're getting like 6 points a turn. You're getting loads of tuck cards to cycle through, and you're getting food from the raven. And like you say, as soon as you can get 4 birds in the grassland, it's going to help the end of round goal. And I think the last end of round goal is total birds as well. So really, you want to get as many down as possible. So I think the right play here is go barn swallow, and get the food to get that bob white down, because that's just going to be such a strong grasslands that they're going to be able to run easily for the rest of this game now.
I always forget that the Bob White is, like, guaranteed point, you know? Like, I see and I go, oh, it's a tuck, that's a point, and I forget that, like, that lay one egg on the bird is just as much of
Yeah.
a point as the hunters are.
Yeah.
Because I'm very hunter biased.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they've chosen not to go for it. I don't know. To me, it feels like a bit of a miss because if you want to lay eggs for the rest of the game, you need as many egg spaces as possible. And the Bob White has plenty. And actually, I think they've got breeding manager bonus as well, so it's another bird that would have met that with the 4 egg spaces. So yeah, the cowbird is a strong bird for all the same reasons that we've already made. It's going to get them eggs, but the longer this game goes on, the fewer turns you're going to give yourself to get eggs from that cowbird. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bob White was the play here.
You're pivoting off the cowbird. Okay.
I can only imagine they'll have to swallow at least this, so they will still get those 4 birds, and they are still going to get the double tucks. But yeah, that to me feels a little bit slow. Just in terms of you're not giving yourself more egg spaces, but also you're taking egg spaces away because that cowbird's going to fill up on the mockingbird and the canvasback. So yeah, be interested to see how they go from here.
Yeah. If they do get the warbler down, that potentially helps with the filling up the egg spaces problem. And also the cowbird makes it so that when you're spending eggs from the raven, I think you're probably going to add up with a net positive. And and like the cowbird is dropping eggs on 2 of the birds that qualify for breeding manager. So filling them up actually benefits June a little bit.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think the more I think about this, they have still got that flexibility. If they get the barn swallow down now, and then the next time they gain food, if they go through their grasslands, they'll get the food from the raven. They still have the option of getting those 2 seeds and getting that Bob White down. So I think if they were looking at playing all 3 of those birds in their grassland, cowbird first, I think makes sense because you get the most usage out of that pink power.
Yes.
If your opponent is going to lay eggs, so. Yeah, they've got the flexibility here. I think for them it might be a bit of a judgment call. Do I need that 5th grassland bird to win this end of round goal, or can I prioritise getting the whooping crane down? At this point they probably will have to gain cards one more time just because.
Yeah, Chad just pointed that out that they're not going to be able to cycle right now.
Exactly. You look at those 4 birds in their hand. You want to be playing all 4 of those. I certainly wouldn't want to be tucking any of them at this point. And there we go. They are going for cards now, which I don't mind. Like we just said, they'll have to go for it at some point. So certainly makes sense to do that before laying eggs to at least give them something to tuck.
And there's your tuck fuel right there. Yep. Your favorite bird, mountain bluebird.
I think it's situational. It doesn't work now, but certainly it can be nice. But yeah, like I say, you've got a couple of birds now, so you can at least cycle through 6 birds in their hand. They've not really got the turns to play all of those anyway, so certainly, they can afford to tuck some of them.
But their tempo, Flan, they're not going to play all their birds.
Well, as long as in a situation like this, you don't want to play them all. You need something to tuck. You just want that kind of bird fodder as I need something to tuck and get 2 points a turn. Yeah, exactly. Like you're trash, but you're doing something because you're getting me 2 points a turn. So it's better than nothing. Okay,
it's turned into a very predictable game, hasn't it?
I think there have been a few.
It's just like
there've been a few points.
They've both got a plan.
Yeah, I think when you do have a setup like this, it does come quite algorithmic. I cycle through my grasslands, I tuck some cards, I see what I get, and if I get the right food, I can play them. That's kind of the basic. There's not really too much strategy to it. You just kind of cycle through. If you get some nice birds, play them. But I think now that EnTaroAdun has played Burrowing Out, I think for June that is the signal here to take 2 seeds and get that Bob White down. Suddenly that Bob White's going to be nice the more turns they lay eggs in that last round, but it's going to help get them extra points from this end of round goal. If they can fill it up with eggs, it's going to help the breeding manager, so that's another point. So certainly, I'd be looking to get that bob weight down this turn, and max out as many points from these end of round goals as possible.
Chad is wondering if it's too late for the barn swallow here, and I would say that it's not.
I don't think it is.
You think it is too late for the barn swallow?
No, I don't think it is. I think you needed that fourth grassland bird. Even ignoring the end of round goal, it gets you an extra egg. It also gets you an extra tuck. So it's basically 2 points a turn. So they've got another 2 points from it already just by activating their grasslands. But the more they activate in that last round, it's going to be extra points as well. Absolutely. I think barn swallow made sense there. And going for the 2 seeds, I think they've realised, okay, I need to get this bob weight down. It's really going to help this end of round goal. And those 6 egg spaces for the breeding manager, that's almost a guaranteed extra point as well. So looking strong for June. I think certainly if they can get a nice bonus card pull from the whooping crane, but even the Bells of Iria as well is something they might look to get down. So they've certainly got options. And I think just the point scoring from their grasslands is looking stronger than EnTaroAdun's at the moment. EnTaroAdun guaranteed 4 points. Maybe you get a couple from the hawk and the owl, but they got to bear in mind that they're giving an egg to their opponent every time they do that as well. So it does weaken it slightly. So I think June looks in the stronger position. I just think on points maybe they are still slightly behind because we talked about this when they were both getting the Raven and the tuck and draw down. I do think that EnTaroAdun was slightly ahead there just in terms of bird points on the board.
Yes.
But I think it's going to really come down to this end game, and like in the first game, June I think has just got a much stronger grassland setup here. They're going to get more points just from activating that, but they've also got some really nice birds in their hands. So I would say it's probably theirs to lose at this point.
We've got a lot of really great examples of engine building in this game. Two strong grassland setups with sort of the same bird.
They are very similar. We talked about it when they both have the Raven and the tuck and draw. These are almost identical setups.
Between the 2 games, June had an incredibly strong setup the first time too.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think this time it did maybe take a little bit too long to get these set up. I mean, obviously in June's case, that Raven came kind of middle to late round 2 anyway. So I think they maybe had a little bit less time to focus on getting that down. But I think at this point for them it is just run through that grasslands, obviously maximise the points from those turns, but also they've got some nice birds in their own hand to get down. So hopefully they can get some nice bonus cards from at least the whooping grade. I'd imagine they get that down. So be interesting to see. They've got a few star nests, so that always opens up options in terms of the nest bonuses. But I think that's probably the play here.
Hey,
that's another nice
play. I love
favorite.
I have so many favorite birds, and they're all shaped like that.
Just like blobs with a spike coming out of their face.
Yeah, blobs with a ridiculously large beak.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. I think probably the Virio is the right tuck here. I don't know, maybe bluebird, maybe the blue-winged warbler. Oh my god, they're just getting so many nice birds here. I think just looking at the food cost, if they have 2 turns to play birds, that gives them, including this turn, 3 turns of laying eggs, which is 6 food. So I think if they take the right 6 food here, they can get the whooping crane and the woodcock down. I mean, that woodcock is so strong, 8 points for that single turn, and even that whooping crane is 5 points plus a bonus, so that's potentially 8-9 points, even more if they get a nice bonus. So really feels like a strong end game for June here. But I think EnTaroAdun's got some nice options, so certainly that Bold Eagle's going to go down at some point. I think that might boost them up to the next level of platform builder as well. On their bonus card, so that's a nice option. But really they're just going to have to hope they can get something nice the Purple Martin, because they've already started skipping their Raven, which I think makes sense. If you don't have anything worth playing, there's no point spending that egg for food that you're not going to use.
Feels like a low-scoring Raven game to me. That might be well, I'm saying this too early. We've got 4 turns left.
Yeah, I mean, EnTaroAdun just gave us a little flash of their score. They're already on 80, and they have got 3 turns left. We know that Eagle's going to go down. That's going to be worth at least 10 points. So I think they should be. They're going to be looking at 100 plus easily, depending on that end of round goal as well. But yeah, I know June gave us a little flash at the end of round 3, and I think they were only on about 50 so points, which isn't great going into that last round, but I just feel like they've got a lot of points from this last round. They're getting 7 or 8 points every time they do that grasslands, and they've still got a couple of really strong birds to play from their hands. So I think they will need to be careful and make sure they max out this breeding manager and at least get the 4 points that they can. But yeah, certainly, it might come down to that draw from the Whooping Crane. What kind of bonus card can they get if they pull Omnivore for 6 points? That could be the game there. So be interesting to see what they can get. Before you mention it, I am reading chat and I'm fully ignoring it. So, ooh, here we go.
Oh.
Now, Woodstock is better than the Bold Eagle because they've got the Omnivore Expert.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's already 8 points versus 9 for the Eagle, and you're getting an extra bonus card. So, yeah, that could potentially make the difference. I think, EnTaroAdun was already going to play that Eagle for sort of 10 or 11 points. But absolutely, they could potentially actually, just looking at the feeders, they could play both. If they play the Eagle, they get that fish. And if they use their Raven now and are smart and they take the right food, which it looks like they're doing, I think they just clocked that as well. So, yeah, I think that's not a bad move, considering that, if you look at their grasslands, okay, do I spend a turn playing the Woodstalk or do I spend a turn activate my grasslands? I'm probably only going to get like 5 points on that grasslands, and I'm giving one to my opponent, whereas the Woodstalk is already 6 points on its own plus another bonus card. So yeah, I think that's smart from EnTaroAdun. It's another bird as well to help with the end of round goal. So
another platform builder.
And another platform. I think they probably already maxed that out, but yeah, it's a strong play for them at the end of this game, and I just that could make the difference again. I think this is going to be quite close, but depending on the bonus card draws, it does to me feel like EnTaroAdun's just edging it. They're certainly looking at 100 plus, potentially into the 110. So could be another very tense count of the scores as we had in the last game as well.
Yes. Okay. Fingers crossed for a good bonus card, everyone.
Yeah. I think Omnivore's the one they're looking for. That's
well, they don't have the option to get it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
They can't even get it. That's not what you want to see. Absolute whiff, and yeah, no chance of getting points for either of those. So that's a shame. And yeah, that could well be the game. Certainly, if I don't even think EnTaroAdun needs a nice bonus card now from that Woodstock, but yeah, that's unfortunate for June. But we say this all the time. That's the gamble you take when you play a late bonus card bird like that.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. So it's a shame, but they have at least still got the Woodcock for 8 points. So they have a strong final turn.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. This is really close. It's hard to compensate on anything because we're just waiting on. Oh, the Kingfisher.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't even need. They didn't even need the Bald Eagle.
Is that?
No, they'll get it anyway. So that's nice. But yeah, I think just having looked at the scores, because again, June did give us a little bit of a flash there. I think this probably is going to be quite a comfortable win for EnTaroAdun in the end. They're going to win this last end of round goal as well, so that's another 3-point advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10 or more points at this point. I think June maybe might squeak over 100, but I feel like they're going to be somewhere in the 90s, whereas EnTaroAdun's looking at 110 plus. So it feels like it should be a fairly comfortable win in the end, but it has been close all through this game. It's been a tough one to call.
Such a shame for June to have all of these high point birds in their hand, but they don't get any of them down because they were so focused on getting that engine set up.
Yeah, and it's a shame they've drawn the Hermit Thrush here, which would have been perfect for that bonus card, but unfortunately, just based on the food that they spent and the food that they kept, they can't get enough to get that down. If they'd kept a grub, they could have gone for 2 cherries here, but it would have only been worth 1 more point versus the... Or actually, it would have been worth a couple more because of the bonus. But yeah, I think it's... I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think EnTaroAdun should still win comfortably here, just based on these last turns, and yeah, they'll still be hoping for a nice fishery manager. Probably is the one they're looking for here, but they've got some good options on the bonus card.
Are you still ignoring the chat?
And we've got the Zoologist, which is even better, and they conveniently had already filled that up. So that's absolutely cemented it, and it should be a strong win, and that's going to take us into a game 3, a decider. So absolutely all to play for.
This one's going fast. It feels like.
Oh, am I being told off for not saying Zoologist right?
Well, okay. You switch between saying oologist and oologist.
I say oologist.
Yeah.
But
I say oologist, and then we both switch and mimic the other person.
Oologist. Yeah, no, I just say oologist. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard it actually read out loud. I've only seen it written down, so...
Yeah.
There you go. Right, as a scores count up,
ding, 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 ding.
I think it is going to be a comfortable win for EnTaroAdun in the end. Just those bonus cards.
Wow.
Huge difference from the bonus cards.
Bonus cards.
Yep. And
those tucks are going to be about even.
A lot of tuck cards as well. So there we go.
Wow.
EnTaroAdun does take it very comfortably in the end. What's that, 24-point margin? So, yeah, well played. A strong performance coming off the back of that first game loss. So, yeah, very, very well played EnTaroAdun. And we do have a deciding game 3 to see who's going to go through into the semi-final.